This episode is a special shout out to all my new managers. Want to fast track your personal development? Consider managing a team. Today I'm sharing the most common mistake I see newly promoted team leaders make and the consequences of making this one mistake. I'm also sharing what you can do instead. Let's get started, shall we?
Well, hello, all you beautiful people, and welcome to Project Joyful, the podcast for health-centered leaders. I'm your host, Tracy Tutty, your medical herbalist, neuro-identity evolution practitioner, and high-performance coach. So hey, Project Joyful isn't just about being happy. It's about consciously creating a life you love. It's about remembering how to reconnect with your soul-centered joy. You know, that joy that comes from doing what you love, from living on purpose, and from being in a life that allows you to experience deep joy, moment by moment. It's also about bringing that joy into your workplace and using your skills as a health-centered leader to heal your team. So let's get started, shall we?
Coaching professionals who are in their first year of managing a team is one of my favourite things. Why? Because that's where maximum impact lives. They're enthusiastic, they're up for the challenge, and they're keen to make a difference. Do you want to know the most common mistake I see with these new managers? This is the mistake which costs energy, it leads to burnout, it annoys your team, and it puts the brakes on productivity. And it's really common, especially among experts, whether they're accountants, lawyers, plumbers, or any other profession that relies on technical expertise. Take accountants, for example. I know them well because I am one. Often they're promoted to finance manager because they're really good at what they do. They're brilliant accountants. They've been noticed for that detailed knowledge, and typically, if you want to advance in your finance career, you do it by managing people. They think that those ways of being that helped them to get noticed, where they were applauded and shoulder tapped for that promotion, will contribute to their success in their next career iteration. And that's the biggest mistake a new manager can make. Wrapping managing a team around their day job. When you're the accountant, stuff gets delivered through your own effort, often in collaboration with others, but it's a 1-for-1 ratio. You determine how best to achieve the outcome and you lean in and you get it done. These professionals tend to wrap managing a team around their day job. They keep doing what they've done before and they add in a bit of bossing around with a dollop of being controlling and a scattering of meetings here and there. How does this way of being as a leader show up in your team? Well, as a leader, you'll feel overworked, overwhelmed, and like you're always racing to catch up. It consumes energy. You become irritable, stressed, strung out, and worn out, and your team feels micromanaged. They're confused about what they're meant to be doing and what they're responsible for. They choose to not take action or make decisions or be proactive, and that pisses you off. You think it's them, when actually they're responding to how you are being as a leader. Now, often these teams are under-resourced because you've kept your day job with a dollop of leading on the side. But in those moments of lucidity, you realize that actually you're not able to do either job well because you're stretched too thin. So let's talk about what leading your team actually is. Team leaders get the job done through their team. Done well, it's nothing like, wow, what does Miss Manager do all day? But new managers worry that they'll be seen as doing nothing. Managers hold the standard and they communicate the delivery. Their job is to ensure that every member of their team knows why the team exists, what the team delivers, and their role in that. They need to know when it's delivered by and the acceptable standard for both the outcome, product, or artifact, and how the team behaves through the journey of delivering that thing. These managers define the outcomes. They anticipate the roadblocks and they take action to remove those roadblocks before they arise. They're on the lookout for optimal and suboptimal behaviour in the team, celebrating the optimal behaviour in public and calmly course correcting the suboptimal behaviour in private. And this is where your self-care as a leader comes in. Most managers choose to ignore poor behaviour in the team because they don't have the energy to have that difficult conversation or the energy to manage the consequences of that conversation. Contrary to belief, it's not because they don't know what to say. They know the standard that's needed in the team. They have the evidence for the current standard. They have everything they need for our standard is here and you appear to be operating over here. So what's contributing to that, and how can we get you from there to here? That conversation. You have everything you need for that conversation. Approach it with kindness and respect, and you can't go wrong. Are you worried about getting it wrong? Well, if your answer is yes, rehearse it with HR or your executive coach. We have those scenario-based conversations a lot. And the key thing to having enough energy is to ensure that your nervous system is regulated and you have the energy necessary to sustain the conversation. And be really clear, this isn't an adrenaline-fueled moment. So to all my newly promoted managers, yay you! Managing people is a fast-track way to learn more about who you are and how you want to be in this world. And if you're thinking, you know what, 2025 is going to be the year where I elevate my leadership. I'm going to bring my team to a whole new standard. Want some ideas on how to do that? Message me on LinkedIn or Instagram with the word lead, and we'll have a free, no obligation 15-minute chat, brainstorming your next best aligned action. Oh, and if it feels right, I might even invite you to join me in my bespoke one-on-one coaching experience. Maybe, or maybe not. Either way, you'll come away with some great ideas. So rather than trying to fit leading your team around your day job, choose to make it your primary focus and watch your team soar. Sending you lots of love. Bye for now.
Hey, thanks for listening to today's podcast. Can I ask you a favour? If our conversation spoke to you today, could you please take a moment to leave a 5-star review? Your review will help people discover this podcast, and together we can create a world where there's even more love and more laughter. And if you want to hear more from the Project Joyful podcast, just click the subscribe button. Bye for now.